Hey everyone, how's it going? We're back with Phoenix Wright, and yeah, we have to get back into this case. I think it's the last one of this game. So yeah, I need to try to remember to what we were at, cause it's been a minute. How long has it been since I played this? Like 3 weeks. All right. Okay, why are we here? Right, we were investigating again because the trial got postponed for 1 day, I think. Right. It's past 9 p.m. already, isn't it? I wonder if Mr. Edgeworth has already found Mystic Maya. These things take time. I'd say probably not. The police are professionals, Pearls. They'll find her, so don't you worry. And if we can win a not guilty verdict tomorrow, then everything will be okay. You're right. Okay. Right. Edgeworth was working with the police, I think, and all that. They already examined this. This bear had a camera and all that. I think I remember. In the trash can, yeah, the bear said. Wait. Why are we... Okay. Alright. What's wrong, Mr. Nick? I don't know, I was hallucinating with the clown. Right, we have the card now. There's something here. Everything looks the same. I think. So the nickel samurai custom was in here? Yeah. Can't believe Mr. Corrida went so far just to say bad things about Mr. Angard. Well, it was a press conference, so he had to go in costume. But were Mr. Angard and Mr. Corrida friends? They weren't friends. They couldn't be friends because they were rivals. So a rival is someone who is a strong enemy? Her is really fired up over this, and I don't have an answer for her. Okay. Alright. Can we just talk to Pearl? The real killer. Okay. So the real person who killed Mr. Corrida was that assassin, Mr. Shelley the Killer, right? And the car Miss Andrews found at the crime scene seems to be proof of that. But if that's the case, then a new question comes to mind. Who was the one that hired the killer to begin with? Who is his client? You mean who asked for the murder? That person didn't want to dirty their own hands in blood. But whoever this client is, they're still a killer. Yeah, true. Assassin's client? Ooh, who could have hired the assassin? Do you think it was Miss Andrews? I wonder. But if she was the client, then why go through the effort to stab the knife into the corpse herself? But if Miss Andrews wasn't the client, then no, it can't be Madame Guard himself? Was it Matt? If Mr. Angard really did hire the assassin, then he's not innocent at all. Far from it, he would be guilty of the crime. But it can't be Mr. Angard, right? I mean, when we first talked with him... Mr. Angard, I'd like to ask you one more question. Did you kill Mr. Juan Corrida? Right, and he didn't have any psych log thingies. Alright, just so we're clear, dude. I didn't kill anyone, and that includes Juan Corrida. Okay. I didn't see any psych logs at the time. Actually, that reminds me. Did you remember something, Mr. Nick? Yeah, something Miss Andrews said at the trial today. She said something interesting. What did she say? Yeah, remind me, because I don't remember. So what is this interesting thing? Oh, that's right, you didn't hear it, did you, Pearls? Juan had bet everything on the German Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. Now, it looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. Mr. Angard's secret? What is his secret? I don't know yet. But for now, let's think about it this way. Mr. Corrida was going to reveal this secret. That means Mr. Angard had plenty of motive to have Mr. Corrida silenced. I guess, yeah. Which means we have to meet with Mr. Angard. There's no way around it now. Okay, I guess we have to. Hey, hello, thank you for the hose. How's it going? Right. I guess we're heading for the police station. Wow, it's really getting late, isn't it, Mr. Nick? Yeah, it's past 9 p.m. already. But we still have some things to prepare for tomorrow's trial. There's still the matter of this secret Mr. Corrida held up about Mr. Angard and Miss Andrews' real intentions. These are two things I must know tonight. But aren't visiting hours over at the detention center? I'm sure we'll think of something, Pearls. Don't you worry. Okay. Nothing different to examine here, I think. The hole. Okay. No, not old bag. No, it's raining here. Nah, I hope it's not a thunderstorm. I think I heard some little thunders over there before. Hopefully it doesn't get bad. And I don't have to cut the stream short. Alright. Hey, wait. What is it? What is it, whippersnapper? All I know is nothing that has anything to do with you is ever good. Like just now, I was handed this strange device for who knows what reason. And I was told to use it to search the whole hotel. That's the bug sweeper, isn't it? The one Gumshoe made. Right. I don't know, and frankly I don't care, but the request came from Edgy Poo, so Edgeworth, and he said, if you feel angry, direct your anger at that unsophisticated lawyer. What? So I'm going to feel free to direct all my anger towards you. Gee, thanks, Abundle Edgeworth. What a pal you are. It's raining harder now. Okay. I don't think there's anything new here. Bug sweeper. This is absolutely top secret, so you had better keep it to yourselves. I heard they found a spy camera hidden in one of the presents. Very interesting. I'm sure it was, you know, it was to catch Bru Juan in the middle of a scandalous meeting. Scandalous? What's that? It means, well, you know, that gossip that's been going around about my dear Juan. Oh, you mean that thing about Miss Andrews? I'm sure she must have had some reason for getting close to Mr. Corrida. I'll let you in on another secret, youngin. I know who planted that spy camera. It was that obnoxious, puffy-haired photographer girl, the nerve of some people. spying on people by herself, as if I wouldn't want to see it for myself too. Well, the alien actually admitted her true intentions for a change. I don't know what you're thinking exactly, but I can bet that it's not good. It's nothing good. But I didn't say anything. She read my mind. She really is an alien. Juan and Adrian. So you want to know about Juan and that manager, right? Actually, as I hear it, they were something of a refreshing pair, those two. Oh? I tell you, Juan really welcomed that manager with open arms, I heard. That manager? What are you talking about? You don't know? That manager woman Juan had. Oh yeah. It's a shame she killed herself though. Oh, you're talking about Miss Celeste Impacts. Miss Andrews' mentor, right? Yes, that's the one. That Celeste girl. She was supposed to get married, you know? Oh? Married? You mean to Mr. Corrida? Really, you young kids today don't know anything, do you? That girl Celeste killed herself 3 days after their marriage announcement. 3 days after their marriage announcement? What in the fuck? I'll say it for you, Phoenix. That's something new. Celeste suicide? Why would Miss Impacts want to kill herself? She was going to get married. Well, that's because she was thrown away, you see, by Juan. Oh. Oh, what? But they were going to get married, right? They promised each other, right? They held a grand announcement session, but 3 days later, Juan suddenly cancelled their marriage. Is that true? It was in the weekly magazines. But why? Why did he do that? That was not in the magazines, unfortunately. I see. That night after Juan called off the wedding, that manager Celeste killed herself. How terrible. Okay. All this turned dark. I wonder what happened between those two. Alright. Also, yeah, is it me or is it kind of weird that we're just talking about all these things in front of this little girl? I don't know. It's kinda... right? Okay. Okay, I don't think I can show her anything. What about Celeste? Can I show her Celeste? Nope. Okay. Okay, whatever. Heading out, I guess. The lobby? Who's at the lobby? Laura? On that night, there must have been at least a few hundred people here. I guess the police are done with their questioning and investigating. Looks like things here in the lobby have finally calmed down. There's no one. Peace. My office? Someone? No. No. Doesn't look like Mr. Scruffy Detective is here. Well, he's out there with that camera asking around at all the electronic stores. Then I'll make some salad for him for dinner. Alright, I forgot that Gumshoe was living with us. I forget about that part. Looks like Pearls really appreciates what Gumshoe is doing for us. Mr. Nick? Yes? Where's the lettuce? I don't think I've ever bought lettuce before. Oh, I guess I have to give up on making a salad then. Hatch? Guess the lack of lettuce is kind of a problem. Okay. Toot, 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 toot. Detention center? Visiting hours ended a few hours ago. Looks like we're not going to get a chance to talk with Mr. Angar tonight. But isn't what we have to ask very important? Yeah, but I don't think that matters to the guard. Well, my man's visiting hours ended. What's he watching over now? Maybe he did something bad and he's standing there as punishment. Somehow I don't think that's it. Maybe it's just an image and he's always there. Criminal affairs, I guess. I feel sort of tense in here, doesn't it, Mr. Nick? Yeah, it does. I wonder if something happened. You're Mr. Angar's lawyer, right? Yes, sir. Well, we finally found just the person we've been looking for. A real decisive witness. Oh? Who is it? A decisive witness? You mean for the Angard case? We're taking the witness statement right now. Gotta hand it to Mr. Edgeworth. What's Edgeworth up to now? Who is this witness? I think you know this person quite well, Mr. Lawyer. Mr. Nick? Between the kidnapper's demand and now this, I can't see any way to win here. Oh yeah. Mr. Edgeworth wanted me to tell you something. He did? Even though visiting hours are long over at the detention center, he wanted me to grant you special permission, so there you go. Oh. What? I've already called them so they know. Go on, go talk to your heart's content. Thank you very much. This is such good news, Mr. Nick. Go talk to your heart's content? Sounds like the police are pretty sure they have tomorrow's trial in the bag. What is Edgeworth up to? And who could that person be? Who is not here? Lotta? Could be Lotta. Could be... It's not the killer, right? The killer? Maybe. Could be the killer. Okay, I guess we're going to the detention center now. Apparently he didn't call before, when we got here before. I'm sure they must have transferred Miss Andrews here by now. So that means that both Mr. Angar and Miss Andrews are in this detention center. Now then, whose story do I want to hear? Angard? Dude, it's Mr. Wright. I hope you can get me off the hook tomorrow. I'm counting on you. I hope so too. Edgeworth just dropped a bombshell on me by saying that Juan Corrida was killed by an assassin and that the assassin's client is this man, Marangard. What's wrong? Mr. Angard, there is something I must know with 100% certainty. You seem kinda different. You're totally not like your usual lawyer dude self. Mad secret. About the press conference. I mean the one where Juan was gonna dress up as the Nickel Samurai? Yeah, I heard a little more about it from Miss Andrews. Looked like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. Could you please fill me in on what this secret is, please? Oh, Cyclops? Whoa, that's a lot. I knew this was coming. Mr. Nick? Don't tell me. Cyclops. You said a secret, right? But I don't have any idea what it is. Do you, dude? Okay, Juan and Adrian. Did you know about Mr. Corrida and Miss Andrews' relationship? Well, it's all over the tabloids, dude. Yeah, but I don't know any of the details if that's what you mean. Look, how many times do I have to tell you? I don't care what Juan did with his life. Miss Andrews, she had a purpose in mind when she started seeing Mr. Corrida. Her mentor was Mr. Corrida's manager. And Miss Andrews was going to get Miss Celeste Impact's suicide note from him. Celeste... Does that jog any memories? Dude, I suddenly just got totally hungry. You know, for a pizza? My treat. The hell? Mr. Nick, what's a pizza? Is it a kind of a pea? Like green peas? Let's go eat one later, okay? I got cut off by the pizza dude at the shop. That's too bad. Well, how about we get our minds off of this topic and talk about something else, okay? More Cyclops? Mr. On guard. Are you connected to Miss Impact's suicide in some way? Oh, I was thinking that, right? I didn't say that. Okay. Kinda scared to show him this card. What's wrong, dude? So about this picture card. Have you ever seen this before? Nope, never saw it before in my life, dude. I don't think he's lying. Or is he? Then again, he looked like he gasped just now. Maybe I'm seeing things. That Adrian, I never thought she'd go this far to frame me. What does she have against me? Something I would like to know too. Do you have any ideas? Don't be silly, Mr. Lawyer, dude. Am I supposed to know something like that? Okay. Could you... Well, that's not important. I'd rather be in bed. What? If I don't get my 12 hours of beauty sleep, my skin's gonna wrinkle up like a prune. Dude. You know, he's right, Mr. Nick. Your skin's kind of drying up here and there. I swear, after this case is over, I'm gonna get lots and lots of sleep. Okay. Okay, wait. No, he's doing that thing again. Okay. I guess we can try the Cyclops for now. Matt's secret. Now let's hear what this secret of yours is. What if Mr. Corrida had been successful in his plan? What would he have disclosed? I told you before, dude, I don't know. I don't know anything about Juan, okay? Look, Mr. Wright, I can keep on saying it until I'm blue in the face, but I totally didn't pay Juan any attention the whole time that night. I mean, come on, I was in the middle of a nap. Don't lie to me. Huh? I know you pay close attention to Mr. Corrida, especially on that night. Do I know? Oh, the camera? Do you have the camera? I don't have the spy camera too. True. I don't think I have enough evidence yet. Should investigate and gather some more clues before I try again. feel like that should be the camera. The spike I don't have that, right? Can I talk to the girl? What if I go out and back? Whose story? Okay, Adrian. Alright. Oh, it's you. I'm sorry to be visiting at such a late hour, but there are a few questions I absolutely have to ask you tonight. Me? I thought your client was mad. I'm sure Miss Andrews knows something. You can't be clueless about this secret Mr. Corrida had on Mr. Angard. Okay. Matt Angard. I'd like to ask you about Matt Angard if you don't mind. Mr. Wright, you still don't know, do you? The real him, I mean... You seem to bear a lot of resentment towards Mr. Angard. If that's the case, then why did you become his manager? And why would you become intimate with his rival? That has nothing to do with this case. Nothing. Okay. Celeste Impacts about Miss Celeste Impacts. I had finally put her death behind me. And now, thanks to you, it's all come back to the surface. I'm sorry. Yes, I was shocked by her suicide. And it's true that when I heard the rumor that Juan was the one who had hidden her suicide note, I began to draw close to him. I wanted to get her suicide note back and to burn it. I wanted to burn it, but why? I didn't want it to. I didn't want it to spread like just another piece of gossip. But I never held any murderous intent towards one. I would never do something so stupid. The suicide note, huh? I wonder what it is. What it said. Why frame him? Why did you try to frame Mr. Angard? That's simple, because he's the killer. That's why. Isn't it the duty of every good citizen to inform the police? But there had to be another way. The police are excellent at doing their job, so they'd figure it out, right? Yes, they're so good that they couldn't figure out the real truth behind Celeste's death. Miss Andrews. Well, I know you're not the type of person to do something without a reason. So please tell me why you did what you did. Revenge. Oh, did you say something just now? Oh, more side logs. Oh, just the one? The side log, huh? Don't you understand yet? You're not my lawyer. To be honest, you're more like my enemy. But I'm sure I just heard Miss Andrews say revenge. Okay. Revenge. Right. Oh, it was near Juan's dead body. I noticed it when I went to fill the glass, and then when I realized that Juan was dead, completely panicked. That's when I must have unconsciously picked this card up and put it into my pocket. As for why, I simply don't know. Okay. Let's see if we have something on her. Why frame him? Can you please tell me why you framed Mr. Angard for the murder? I've already told you countless times it's because I thought Matt was the killer. No, that's not it. I know you have a personal reason to dislike Mr. Angard. Miss Andrews, you may think I didn't hear it, but I know you said something earlier. You said revenge. You were saying I was taking my revenge out on Matt, and that's why? What an absurd idea. I don't have anything I want to take revenge for. Miss Andrews, a woman who lives by being dependent on other people. There's something or someone in her past that would make her take revenge. Something or someone. Someone. Someone in her past. Celeste? I don't know what Celeste has to do with Matt though. Let's say Celeste. Wait, well... whatever. Celeste. There's only one catalyst that could cause such strong feelings, and even revenge. And that is Miss Impact's suicide. What are you trying to say? Celeste was Juan's manager. On top of that, the one who hid her suicide note was also Juan. What does all this have to do with Matt? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You're right, you haven't mentioned him. Yet. But for you to hate Mr. Angard, it would mean that he must have had some relation to Miss Impacts and her suicide. Can you explain to me this relation between Celeste and Matt? I thought it was one question, that was why there was one side clock. What relationship? Oh, this is Juan and her, right? Yeah. The relation between Celeste and Matt. I'm not sure. Do 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 do. Matt. I don't think I have this. What is it? 3. I'm gonna save here. Can I get some other information somewhere? Oh, right here. Forgot about that place. Looks like no one is around. What happened to that person with the stuffed teddy face? Oh, she must be that butler with the stitches in his face. Shoo! Alright, Shoo, the cat. Forget about it. Oh, there you are. I guess you're still awake, huh, Shoo? Oh. Come on, let's play. I wonder if that butler, Mr. Doe, is already asleep or not. Ooh. It's a very comfortable and spacious lounge set. I wonder if famous stars drop by and sit around and have a good time. In any case, I don't really belong here, do I? What is with me and feeling inferior today? Okay. Hey Adrian, how's it going? How you been? I think I checked all the things already. A giant bicycle is flying through the air. Yeah, I think like this. Yes, I can't fly. Should I try the door then or here? There's a small door at the bottom of this bigger door, Mr. Nick. I bet it's for Mr. Angard's cat to use. Oh, you mean shoe? The door is locked tight. Well, I guess that's to keep nosy people like me from entering it. There's another door over there. Shouldn't go wandering off over there, Mr. Nick. Yes, bros. Now I know how Maya feels when I tell her to stop playing around. No, there's a giant cooking earth here. Fireplace. Are they different? Or it is here? Oh. Whoa. Okay. That was thunder. Okay. Been busy behind wig and just trying to relax out here in this heat. Right, the heat. How's it going? It's going alright, things. Apparently there's a storm. It was raining before, but it stopped. And now it's just thunder. I don't know, hopefully it calms down. If not, I don't know, might have to end the stream earlier. But yeah. That gave me a little jump scare. Anyway, okay. Can I move here? No, just to the hotel lobby. Okay. There are masks here. Yeah, that one in the middle is a steel samurai. Yeah. Okay. Nothing here, nothing. I need info. Where can I get stuff? I don't know, not here. Couldn't go to the other room, right? No. No, I can't. Can I get the camera? Yeah, the bears, I know. I thought the camera was... Oh, wait. What was this? So, Messi here. Electronics. A watch. I don't know how to get that camera thing. That's a bit. Yeah. Okay. I'm in confusion. How do I prove that relation? Matt and Celeste. Show from Celeste. Other side. I don't have that. Oh, wait. Something going on here. Okay. Oh, Mr. Wright, please, you have to help me. Hoodies. Oh. What? Why Powers? Mr. Powers. What happened? Why are you here? You see, I got roped into this somehow. What? And now I'm going to testify at tomorrow's trial. So the decisive witness is Mr. Powers? I was talking with a detective until a little while ago, and I was on my way home. When all of a sudden, you're under arrest, and I was brought back here. Oh hey, Hugh Jackman. That's him. Oh. They said my face and whole self in general looked suspicious or something. They call this man sus. Alright. Well, I guess I can see how they thought you looked suspicious. Why? Just a normal guy on an exercise show for kids. Is that a crime? Tomorrow's testimony? So about this testimony you're giving, what are you going to talk about? I really don't know yet. But it sounds like I saw something pretty important from what they tell me. You saw something important? What was it? Ah, well, the detective told me not to talk about it. You can't tell anyone, and especially not that lawyer, he said. What do you think is that lawyer the detective was talking about? I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it's me. Yeah, you got it. Mr. Nick, Mystic Maya and myself are your only two allies in this whole world, but it's alright. Ouch, I don't really have a lot of friends, do I? Lurk away, Adrian, no problem. Enjoy the lurks. Matt Ungar, Chill Storm, I hear you. This is going to do a lot of damage to Matt, you know? Because he's got that refreshing, like a spring breeze image going. But what is he really like? Well, let's see. It's always been kind of a player with women. He would never really turn a pretty face away, if you know what I mean. He'd always say it's just a game to justify himself. Wow. What? How horrible. That's unforgivable. Ow, sorry, didn't mean to offend you. But you know, he said once that there's only one person in the world who won't swoon over me. One person who wouldn't swoon over him. His manager, you know, Miss Adrian Andrews. Why is Mr. Power suddenly looking kind of energetic? Gossip. You see, I'm actually a sucker for gossip. I mean, celebrities in their world have this dazzling sort of image, right? A dazzling sort of image. But aren't you a part of that dazzle, Mr. Powers? No, I'm more of a hairy, sweaty, smelly, brutish kind of guy, you see. But it's okay, really. I get to hear plenty of gossip about a lot of the other stars around me as things happen. Well, that's true. Oh hey, so did you hear about this yet? About Miss Andrews' mentor and her suicide? You mean Miss Impacts? We heard something about how her wedding was cancelled. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I thought about it a little the other day, about that mysterious death. Hey, Mr. Wright, why don't you ask me about that? Go on, go ahead. Mr. Powers is so charged up, his skin is practically glowing with electricity. Okay. Celeste suicide? Hey, so you have heard... So have you heard this? Celeste left a suicide note. And they say that Juan went and hid it. We heard about that in court today. But there wasn't any actual proof that she had left a note. Well, this is what I think. I think that something bad was written on that note. Something bad for Juan, that is. Something bad for Mr. Corrida? Why do you figure so? Well, before she died, Celeste talked with a few of her friends, and she said it looks like I got caught up with a truly insidious man. I got caught up. A truly insidious man. Did she mean Mr. Corrida by that? Well, there's no one else that fits the bill, right? And that would be reason enough for him to hide the suicide note. Maybe Matt? Is that man? I see. Well, that's some good info. Thank you. You're welcome. Mr. Agar and Miss Andrews, they're both at the detention center right now. There are still things I don't understand or know about, I'm sure. I have to get to the two of them to tell me everything. Mr. Nick, your phone. Hey, that's the Steel Samurai theme song, isn't it? I don't like the sound of this ringtone right now. Sounds kind of ominous. Yeah, I know. Hello? We're in trouble now, pal. What's happening, Gumshoe? I'll be back at the office really soon. What's wrong? Something really unexpected just happened. Mr. Edgeworth, Edgeworth? Anyway, hurry up and get back to the office, pal. I don't know what's going on anymore. It's no good. The end, Hello? He got cut off. What's going on, Mr. Nick? No, she said we need to go back to the office right away. Then we should hurry back. I'm scared to go back. What are you talking about, Mr. Nick? Pull yourself together. Oh, maybe it'll be good news. Somehow I doubt that. Okay, guess we're going back. What happened? What took you so long, pal? Mr. Edgeworth couldn't stick around forever and had to go. Well, what happened? We got him. We know who bought that spy camera. Eh? This quickly? And this bear's what gave them away, pal. The bear? I figured it out, pal. I figured that we should have been looking into the bear instead of the camera. But wasn't it Mr. Edgeworth that figured? Shh, pearls. And go on. There's only one person who bought one of those bears who's related to this crime. Who is it? Who would be so rude as to spy on another person in their room? Matt and Guard. Huh? Matt and Guard, your client, that's who, pal. And here I thought things couldn't get any worse. Oh, God. Stop there. Are you sure you heard right? That the person who bought this bear was... I heard it from the department store clerk, pal. This is the credit card receipt for the purchase. It's for 3,800, pal. It's an exact match to the price of that stuffed bear. A receipt? That's all you have? Yeah, it's not just a receipt, pal. The store clerk said so himself. He told me I'm sure I sold the bear to Mr. Angard. I mean, the clerk even got Mr. Angard's autograph out of it, pal. So I'm sure the person that bought the stuffed bear was Mr. Angard himself. My sight is failing me. This can't be. Okay, credit card receipt, proof Angard bought a stuffed bear identical to one in evidence. Huh. Okay. Spy camera. So what about the spy camera we found? Ah, that was a dead end, pal. I mean, you can get this kind of thing from anywhere. But for now, I guess I can give this back to you for you to file away into evidence. There we go, that's what I needed. Set to record the victim's room from 8 PM. I know you don't want to give up, pal. I didn't think it was possible. The person who put the spy camera in Juan Corrida's room was Madame Guard. Why would Mr. Engard do something like this? I bet it was to catch Miss Andrews and Mr. Corrida in one of their rendezvous. I bet it's not good enough for me. I have to know the absolute truth behind this camera. Are you gonna see him? Mr. Engard, I mean? Yes. I'm scared, Mr. Nick. I wonder what we will find out next. We'll find out next. I can't read. I'm scared myself, but I have to put on a good face for pearls. Madame Guard, what in the world have you done? Okay, guess now we have some info on them. Wanna go back to the other places before I get there, just in case. I don't know. Gonna take a little tour over here. Don't mind me. Nothing new. Okay. Okay. Okay, here we go. I have to count. Oh, we're working really late, you know. It's already past 10 p.m., dude. I think it's time you told me the truth. Relax. Don't you know that ignorance is bliss? But if you really want to know, let's talk. Okay, let's do this. Alright. Let's hear what this secret of yours is. What if Mr. Corrida had been successful in his plan? What would have been disclosed? I don't know anything about Juan. Probably didn't pay Juan any attention the whole time that night. I mean, come on, I was in the middle of a nap. Don't lie to me. Now you pay close attention. Now I have a camera. Someone used this camera to secretly film Mr. Corrida's room the night of the murder. Secretly film? What? And then send the images the camera took with this transmitter. Wow, but dude, where was this camera you're talking about hidden? In a bear. The spy camera was hidden in this bear's eye. A bear that was supposed to be a present from a fan. I guess Juan had a few of those kinds of fans too, huh, dude? Actually, I wouldn't say this bear was a present from a fan. You sure, dude? Who else could it be from? The person who gave this bear to Mr. Corrida was... you? Mr. Engard. Do you know this bear from somewhere? I don't think I've ever met Mr. Bear before, dude. Oh, but he says he knows you. How could you forget such a great friend? What else did the bear tell you? He says that the one who put the camera in his eye was you, Mr. Engard. I didn't know how you were getting hurt. I think I was in some serious trouble. Come on, this is all a joke, right, dude? You're just pulling my leg. Looks like you're not ready to give up your secret yet. Well, do you have any proof you want to show me first? Please prove that it was you who put the camera inside the bear. The receipt, do I have it? I do have the receipt. I have here one credit card receipt, Mr. Engard. It's from when you bought that stuffed bear. Dude, all you can tell me from this is that I spent 3,800 bucks. I go to that department store all the time, okay? This is 3,800 bucks. This could be the toothbrush I bought that one time. A 3,800 bucks toothbrush? Is it a gold toothbrush? A $3,800 toothbrush. That's what I said. It's ivory and it's got elephant hair for bristles. Ew, elephant hair. That what rich people use nowadays? Anyway, the store clerk clearly remembers you and your purchase. After all, you even gave him an autograph, did you not? Dude, you should have said that earlier. So can I ask you one thing? Yes? You're my lawyer, right, dude? So if you are, then why are you looking into stuff like that? Because if I don't know the truth, I can't help you. Sounds more like stupid lawyer talk to me. Hey, let's stop talking about this, okay? No, not yet. I haven't asked why you set the camera up yet. And what your secret is, of course. It would be strictly confidential. So, what are you going to do now? I'm gonna find out what I want to know, because I must. The reason you hid this camera in Mr. Corrida's room and filmed it in secret. The gossip? Yep. Adrian Andrews? There's a rumor going around that Miss Andrews and Mr. Corrida were having secret meetings. You who was keeping tabs on Mr. Corrida, you were going to reveal this as fact and turn it into a scandal, isn't that right? Dude, you can be such a moron. Huh? Oh man, Mr. Lawyer dude, that kind of scandal, that's the good stuff. That's what we in the industry call juicy. The good stuff? Juicy? Look, we can get publicity without spending a penny with that kind of stuff. I mean, if people stop paying attention to us, then it'd be the end, dude. Too bad that wasn't your intention. What are you talking about? I wish your reason for spying was something so innocent, but it wasn't. I didn't spy on Mr. Corrida because of Miss Andrews. And there's only one reason I can think of for you to do such a thing. The real reason you set up the camera in Mr. Corrida's room was... oh, I'm gonna need another challenge? Yeah... I don't know what yet. I don't know what. The real reason. The real reason. Face cam challenge? I don't think so. The real reason. The real reason. I don't know. Celeste suicide? Nope, it's not that. If I really wanted to set up a spy camera, I wouldn't have set it up Horn's room. It would be in your office, dude. My office? Well, dude, you're always saying really absurd things, right? It'd be like getting the comedy channel for free. Oh, so close, I can feel it. I wanna save. I don't think I lose if I get everything wrong there. But still. What's the reason? Why would he spy on them? Maybe that? To know what... Let's try. Have to go through everything again. Let's speed through it. Okay, camera. The bear. Okay. Now, secret. Reason. Say it was this. Nope. What's he doing? Mr. Guard? Dude, how about you take that bear home with you and talk to it? I'm sure Mr. Bear will talk with you about as much as I will. Push yourself anymore, just always shatter. Calm down. Okay. What is it? Huh. I'm not sure. I can't go back to talk to the girl, right? Oh, I can. But I don't have proof yet. No, I don't have proof between the relation of Matt and Celeste. Okay. Yeah, I have to do maths first. I don't get... Okay. Suspect camera in the victim's room. To go to the murder. If it just a tad suspicious, doesn't sound like a coincidence. Don't blame me, I didn't mean it that way. In what way did you mean? Okay. Okay. Nothing. No, I just need to figure out what the thing is, I feel. Maybe where's the crime scene photo? Maybe to watch the killer he supposedly sent do their job? Let's try that, I don't know. Right, here we go again. Okay. The reason. Nope. Am I missing something? I don't think I'm missing any proof. Just can't figure out what. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna Google it because it's gonna take an hour if I just have to go through all of that every time. What's this part? 3-2, right? 3-2 investigation. Okay. Affairs. Vanguard Cyclock. Receipt. Okay. Okay. Well, I think I know. I think I know what it is. Hold on. Okay. Okay, so do this again. Into beer, then his profile. Oh. And then receipt. Okay, and apparently the next one is Andrew's profile. Okay. Adrian Andrews. Well, I said the gossip thing, so I thought it included her already. Whatever. There's a rumor going around. I already said that. Speedrun time. And Miss Andrews and Mr. Corrido were having secret meetings. I already showed him the gossip article. That's unfair. You, who was keeping tabs on Mr. Corrida, you were going to reveal this as fact and turn it into a scandal, isn't that right? Dude, you can be such a... Oh, wait, I didn't... You already said all these things. Mr. Lawyer dude, that kind of scandal. That's a good start, it's juicy. What? Did you just say all this before? In the end, dude. What's your intention? What are you talking about? Your reason for spying? Something so innocent, but it wasn't. Only one reason I can think of. I'm confusion. Did we just have that conversation? Okay, that really threw me off. Oh, right, I think I wasn't doing that. Wait. I'm stupid. Oh. Okay, it wasn't that. I get confused. Is it donut time yet? Maybe. We're kind of close to the end of this case, but welcome, Leah. How's it going? How you been? How's your Saturday? Okay, let's try this again. Yeah, I already did that. I forgot. Okay. So camera. There. Do this again. Profile. So the bear, receipt. I've been fine. Need to check up in the hospital now. A lot, which sucks. But hey, I'm alive. I'm sorry. Sorry you're going through all of that. And yeah, hope everything gets better soon for you. The reason you hit the camera. Okay. Now this. I forgot that I already did that the first time. That's why it was similar. The good stuff. The real reason. There we go. That's where I stopped the first time. And now the picture card. Oh, so I was right, but I didn't present the right thing. Okay. Whatever. What is this card? Maybe he doesn't know about this card. It's a certain man's calling card. The man's name is Shelly the Killer, and I'm sure you know of him, don't you? Shelly the Killer? This is true. There's been one hell of a ride this half a year. So now I can focus full time on writing and stuff. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's nice that you can write stuff. Yeah. How's that been? Did you get a lot done there? That's ridiculous. Why would you? Why would I know some shady scumbag like him? If you really don't know him, then why are you acting so jumpy all of a sudden? This is it. I'm finally starting to get to the truth. I can't afford to make any more mistakes now. Mr. Mutton Card. I know why you know Mr. the Killer. It's because you're a hero of justice, though. What? You're his client, you're a star. Okay. Easy. Since you're the one who set up the camera, that means you knew exactly what was going to happen in that room. So how would you know something like that? It's because you're his client, that's why. You hired Shelly the Killer to assassinate Mr. Juan Corrida. The real mastermind behind this whole murder is you, Madam Guard. And here I was trying to be a good boy for you, dude. Writing's been good, kind of just writing all over the place and put it in a coherent story after, which is a weird way to do it, but enough about me. How's been your guys' life? Well, I'm sure you're gonna get something coherent from that. But yeah, I've been alright. Just the normal stuff. Yeah, playing games. I finished a couple last week, actually. Oh yeah. Yeah, just the same. Oh, yep. Here I was trying to be a good boy for you, dude. I thought if you didn't know, you'd be able to do your job without feeling bad. Well, that's what I thought anyway. Mr. On Guard, you really did hire... Hold on a sec, I'm gonna consult myself, okay? This man scolded himself. Consult myself. Well, I guess it's probably about time anyway. About time for what? I think it's time for you to meet him now, Mr. Lawyer Dude. This freaking guy is in his phone. Okay. How do you do, Mr. Lawyer? I'm Madame Guard. He changed like that. Just did 180. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Dracula. Matt's secret. Well done, Mr. Wright. I bet it wasn't easy to gather as much information as you have. You really... So you are Shield the Killer's client? You didn't really think I would dirty my own hands in this, did you? What do you mean? And that woman, Adrian, was quite brave herself. Trying to stick the crime on me. I didn't think she had it in her. But all I care about is that Juan is dead. Isn't that right, Mr. Lawyer? What the hell is going on here? Problem for asking, just writing a kind of young adult novel. I see. Specifically for teens, kinda, with the main focus being good representation of LGBT plus youth. Just writing stuff which I would have read as a teen. I see. That's nice. That was nice. Yeah, I don't do a lot of reading myself either. Still, as a teen or now or ever. So yeah. Yeah. Maybe I should. That's... You're lying. What a terrible... It's way past your bedtime, little girl. Go on, let us grown-ups talk about more adult things. But why? Why did you hide the video camera and... A weakling soon believes the words of others. Just like that pathetic Adrian. You knew about Miss Andrews' secret? But I'm no weakling. I don't believe anyone. Least of all assassins. What? Oh, calm now, Mr. Wright. Assassins aren't above blackmail. They turn their clients into cash cows by holding the sinful deed over their heads. And a superstar like me, how much do you think I'm worth? Care to guess? And that's why? Yes, that's where the video comes in. It's got his face and the crime scene recorded on it. Reserved for all time. With that, I can keep him at bay and even blackmail him if I want. That's right, that video is my insurance. Isn't that what they call it, Mr. Wright? Why would you do something so wrong? Because I'm a grown-up and I can? Good enough of an answer for you, little girl? Okay. This man is blackmailing assassins. Okay. I don't read much either. I overanalyze everything and that kind of ruins the point of reading. Only started reading lunch recently, so I have something to do while I wait for each checkup essay. Okay. Yeah, glad you have something to entertain yourself at least. Motive of murder. Why? Why would you kill Mr. Corrida? Because he was about to sling so much dung onto my beautiful public image. Scandals are a little annoying, aren't they? This is all because of that press conference, isn't it? If Mr. Corrida had been able to keep it, then Mr. Angar's secret would have... Ah, well, that's what we call taking advantage of the situation, you know? I had no interest in doing it, really, but bit by bit, it crept up on me. And then the situation just presented itself perfectly. How beautiful, I thought. And that's how Mr. Corrida ended up dead. Let me tell you something. I'm not like Adrian. I don't depend on anyone. People are simply things to be used and thrown away. Put on a sweet, innocent face and people will swallow anything you feed them. Adrian fell for it. The assassin too. Oh, and how can I forget? Even you fell for it, Mr. Lawyer. Okay. How did he get a glass of juice inside a cell? I don't know, don't ask me. He has a phone watch tube inside the cell, so I don't know. I have no idea. The guards are now doing a good job. Everyone all working their butts off for me. Matt and guard. Oh, did that leave you speechless? What a shame. What's wrong, Mr. Lawyer? You've grown awfully quiet. How could I have been so deceived by you all this time? Better lose security. When we first met, I asked if you had killed Juan Corrida. And you answered very clearly that you hadn't killed anyone. Well, technically he didn't. He hired someone to do it. Hey now, I never told you any lies. The person who did the killing was the killer guy, right? Yes. All I'm guilty of is taking a cat nap in my room. You killed Mr. Corrida. I dare you to say that in court tomorrow. Oh, but too bad. You can't. You're my lawyer after all, aren't you? Wow. You could always drop my case and refuse to represent me. How does that sound? Oh, but you can't you? That would be the one thing you absolutely can't do. Oh, wait. Starting to put things together, I think. So the killer is the one that's blackmailing me with Maya to let this guy, to make this guy not guilty, because he must be blackmailing him. That if he goes to prison, then he's gonna show the killer stuff, I guess. It's all a blackmailing mess. Okay. In the background, didn't he stand like that since the first game? Yep, he's always been like that, looking at the wall. Yeah. Mystic Maya. Yeah. You wouldn't want to test the killer. He's a man of his word, or so I hear. You could end up getting a certain friend of yours rubbed out of you loose. You scoundrel. If I were you, Mr. Wright, Esquire, I think I would give it my all tomorrow. Remember, everyone likes a happy win-win resolution. I'll get you for this. That's such a cliche phrase. One said something just like that, if memory serves. Of course, well, we all know how well things turned out for him, don't we? Good night, Mr. Lawyer. Maya. Maya, what am I supposed to do? Oh. And now you finally found it. Edgy new. The starting line of this case. Edgeworth. I don't care for the horrid atmosphere here. Let's return to the precinct. Okay. Well, right, what are you gonna do? If you plan on changing your strategy? No, we can't do that. That's right, he's holding Maya hostage. What? What should I do? That's not something I can answer for you. Mr. Edgeworth. Right, only you can decide where to go from here. 1 year ago, at that time, I didn't truly understand what a prosecutor was. And that is why I had to leave the prosecutor's office. I felt that I couldn't stand in a court of law until I knew what a prosecutor really was. And now, right, it's your turn. My turn? What is this thing called a lawyer? What can you do as one? You must find the answer, and you must find it on your own. Madam Guard, I'm a lawyer. But if I were someone who is clearly a killer, Not on guard. That man is really... doesn't matter who, every person deserves a... doesn't matter who, every person deserves a proper defense and a fair trial. Isn't that the basis of our judicial system? Proper defense. But what exactly is that? Is it where a lawyer forcibly and blindly gets an acquittal through shouting and trickery? Ironic that you of all people should say such a thing. Isn't that exactly how you have fought for your clients up until now? Well, that may be true, but that's because I believe my clients to be innocent from the bottom of my heart. But if I were to get on guard and acquittal, that isn't a proper defense at all. Getting pretty late, I'm gonna go to bed now. Hope you guys have a fun stream and a good night. Bye bye, take care, Liam. Have a good night. Yep, and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thank you for stopping by. I became a lawyer because I thought I could save people who were suffering and in pain. But when I look at this mess we're in, I can't even protect the person closest to me. Even if I win the case, I still lose in the end. Just don't know what to do. Right, if you get a hold of yourself, you have it all wrong. Huh? We aren't some sort of heroes. We're only human, you and I. You want to save someone? That's something easier said than done, wouldn't you say? You're a defense attorney. You can't run away from that. You can only fight. That's all you can do. Why fight? People like you and Francisca von Karma are always using all you have to pin me down. You fight to the very end, even when you know the truth is not with you. But I'm not like you. I can't fight for a false verdict for a man I clearly know to be guilty. Francisca, she fights for herself. The only thing she fights for is her perfect win record. That's all. And isn't that the same as you? Isn't that why you ran away a year ago? Because your precious win record was destroyed? You're so petty. I see. Now I understand why you despise me so. However, you are mistaken. What do you... Thanks to you, when you sealed off my path to a perfect win record, I began to realize the error of my ways. I realized that things such as a perfect record were meaningless. What? I don't believe you. Are you saying that is why you left the prosecutor's office? But then why? Why are you here now? The answer to that is something you will find out on your own. I have faith you will see it before the verdict is read tomorrow. But if you can't, then you will be powerless to change the ending of the story. Who these? Mr. Nick? The transceiver? Oh no. I'm sorry for what happened earlier. Now then, Mr. Attorney, do you wager you can obtain an acquittal tomorrow? My, what is the matter, Mr. Attorney? I don't sense your usual anger this time. Tell me, please, why are you holding my hostage for Mr. Engard's sake? Why are you doing this for that cold-blooded killer? Right. Please don't misunderstand things. He is my client. Don't toy with me. A man who hires an assassin is just as much of a killer himself. I believe you were asking me for a reason as to why I'm doing what I am. Yeah. This is what I like to call my aftercare. What the heck is aftercare? My name carries a certain amount of honor and dignity, Mr. Attorney. I take great care to ensure that no suspicion falls upon my clients for my handiwork. That is what is called client relations, and it is a part of an assassin's duty. An assassin's duty? We were unlucky this time and my client was arrested as a suspect. As a result, I did what I had to do to enlist your expert help, Mr. Attorney, and to ensure that you would do everything in your power to the very end. What is your name? I believe I told you once before, however, you did, but my name is the Killer. Hey man, I'm gonna head on out, have a good rest of the stream, get the case done, so thank you. Thank you, Agent, for stopping by. Hope you have a good rest of your Friday. And yeah, take care, dude, and thank you for the hydrate. I'll take it now. Take care, dude. Good night. Whoops, Saturday. Sorry. I don't know what day is anymore. This case is frying my brain. Anyway, yeah, rest of your Saturday. I'm sorry. Take care, dude. Good night. Shelly the Killer. So one big day to me now. You can take it like that too. You're Shelly the Killer? I knew that. Didn't we know that? Take care, dude. See ya. Please keep in mind you do not have much space to maneuver with me. As for the Killer, I always finish what I set out to do. If you fail to keep up your end of the bargain, it would be my duty as an assassin to see to it she receives a nice long nap. No. Now then, if you'll excuse me, if someone were to trace this signal back to me, it would be quite troublesome. Oh. It's true. I knew it was that guy. Isn't that obvious? Mystic Maya. I don't know what to say. Edgeworth. Did you hear that? At the end of that transmission? Oh wait, they already showed us it was that guy on the scene with Maya before. Did you hear at the end of the transmission? Yeah, I heard you. Huh? Oh, it sounded like a cat. A cat? It can't be that cat, can it? What is it? I think I know where Shelly the Killer is holding my hostage. Edgeworth, have all police units head for Unguard Mansion immediately. Alright, you hurry over as well then. Don't lose hope yet, Pearls. The fight has only just begun. Yeah. Okay. Guess we're going there then. I don't want to be here. That's why the Margaret is refusing to meet with you. Is he? I will listen to what Miss Sanders had to say. Okay. No, I'm gonna come here. Okay. I'm guessing I'm moving here. Maya, please answer us, Mystic Maya. We have this area completely surrounded. There is no way for him to escape. Assuming he's still in the area. I can't believe it. That butler. All this time he was the killer. He and Angar were working together all this time. I'm sure they have worked out a contingency plan ahead of time. Oh, there's a bear there. What the hell? Oh, it's a figurine of a bear. But there are a lot of cuts in it for some reason. A wooden bear-shaped figurine. It's covered in many thin cuts. A bear? Isn't that more of a thing for Mr. Corrida? Why would something like this be here? Right, look down. There's a little pet door installed here. Yeah, I'm sure that's for Shu. Do you think that this came through that little door? Oh, this door is locked. Well, I'm pretty used to breaking doors down by now. Let's go, Edgeworth. This pen just... Oh, he actually broke it. My mans. There's no one here. From the looks of this room, I would say this is On-Guard's private lounge. Look at this, right? An antenna for sending and receiving radio signals and a BCR. Check inside the deck. If there's a tape, it would be an important piece of evidence. If we're lucky, it'll have the moment the crime was committed recorded on it. I'm sorry, but the tape deck is empty. There's no tape to be found. No. But there's no mistake that someone used this to record something. It looks like someone took the tape we're looking for and escaped with it. It's in Gar's computer. Maya, why couldn't you have used this to get help? Mr. Nick, where's the power switch? Oh, I get it. So that's what happened. She couldn't find the power switch. It's a PCR and an antenna. The footage that the spy camera The footage that the spy camera took at the scene of the crime was beamed here and recorded on tape. If only we had that tape, it would have been really helpful. A huge television and speakers loom largely here. I'm sure if Maya saw this, she'd say, I would die a happy samurai fan if I could see the Nickel Samurai on a TV like this. Did she actually say that? I don't remember. That might have been. Yeah, that's what she'd say. I can't believe I just made a joke about Maya, all things considered. It's a very small table. I bet we could barely squeeze 3 pearls on there. But I wouldn't sit on a table too big to begin with, Mr. Nick. What a spacious sofa. I bet 10 pearls would fit on you. Why are we measuring things with pearls? I don't think 10 of me would fit, Mr. Nick. Okay. I can't read all the labels, but this is a very large collection of videotapes. Looks like On-Guard taped all of his own shows. There's a little door for Shu in this big door. I'm sure Maya used this door to shove this out there. I'm sure it was her. Every time you give me some piece of evidence, it's always the most crucial piece. This time too, I'm sure. Oh, I can move to the cellar. Okay. We've searched all over, but it looks like he got away. I'm sorry. Looks like he slipped out of our grasp this time. And now we've lost our only lead. Don't give up yet. That little girl is looking to you to be her pillar. Yeah, you're right. We're close, I can tell. We've already set up checkpoints along every route leading out of this district. Leave the rest to us. Okay. Maya. Sash. Well, I've never seen so many bottles all in one place before. Well, I guess when you're a star, you have so much money, you can buy anything you want. Okay. Oh, wait, that's important. The light doesn't filter in all the way, so it's hard to see. Looks like there are crates and cardboard boxes tied up with wire here. It's a pretty heavy door, isn't it? I can't open it by myself. Please don't shut me in here by accident, okay, Mr. Nick? If I were locked in a place like this, I'd be plenty scared too, trust me. Okay. This looks like a picture of Miss Impacts. There's the relation, I guess. With love, Celeste. Miss Impacts? You mean? Yes, Mr. Corrida's former manager. Why would a picture of Miss Impacts be here in Mr. Angard's mansion? And why does it say with love? This might be a clue. On an Angard mansion with love, Celeste is written on it. Ah, what's wrong, Pearls? Please let me see that picture frame. Huh? What's so special about the frame? On the back, there's something written on the back of the frame. Maya. Oh, it's mystical Maya. She left us a message. What? I thought you'd come. I knew you would. Now listen up. You better get on guard. A guilty sentence, okay? If you get that creepy slime bag and not guilty, I'll never forgive you ever. I'm fine, so you don't need to worry. There's so much I want to write, but I don't think I have a lot of time left. Apparently, you're there too, right? Make sure you help Nick, okay? Someone's gotta watch out for the helpless lunk. That's it for now, Nick. I guess. Oh, I'll talk to you later or something. I skipped it by accident. No. Mistake my, Right. What's wrong? Why the blank stare? Oh, nothing. We've searched the house and this is the last room. It looks like he eluded us. Edgeworth. Yes. As far as clues go, I think this is about all I'm going to get. But I'm still short one last thing. And what is that? Yeah, the Cyclock. Are we doing this? We skip to that? We send her Cyclock? I could just find out what secret she's holding. And I think I stand a chance in court tomorrow. Blow this case wide open and expose the truth. Okay. I think I know what you're thinking. I'll contact the detention center. Thanks, Edgeworth. Well, let's go, Pearls. It's time to open that last lock. They better not kill Maya. The hell? Good evening, Mr. Wright. What's wrong? You look ill. Miss Andrews, I have come to remove your Cyclock. What? Cyclock? I want to know when you will tell me your secret. Fine, go ahead. Try to break me, if you can. Alright, I'll get you, bitch. Alright. We've been through the first one, I think. Can you please tell me? I've already told you countless times because I thought, It's a revenge. Yeah, we've seen this first part. There's something or someone in her past. Celeste, missing by suicide. What I'm trying to say, so this was one's manager. I have a mention for you to hate Mr. Angard. Some relation, can you explain to me this relation? That? This is a photo of Miss Impacts, correct? She looks younger than when she passed away, though. With love, Celeste. This is Miss Impact's handwriting, isn't it? Where did you find this? No, that's alright. It was a rhetorical question. Yeah, it is. I found this at Mr. Angard's mansion. And after all this time, my last remaining secret has been revealed. Okay. We did it. Right, we'll frame him. Celeste. She was supposed to get married to Juan. Yes, but I heard that it didn't work out. Because Mr. Corrido didn't want to get married to her anymore, right? Yes, because of Matt. Because of Mr. Angard? What do you mean? I think I can see where this is going. Celeste, she was Matt's manager a long time ago. She was the happiest woman in the world at that time. I was working part-time back then, and I often saw the two of them together. So that's why "With Love, Celeste" is written on the frame of that picture. They were a couple, weren't they? It wasn't anything as splendid as that. Celeste was being used, toyed with until she was thrown away. That's so horrible. Matt's entire image is built around how nice and wonderful of a man he is. A scandal would have destroyed that. Which is why Celeste in her kindness moved over to Worldwide Studios. And that is where she met Juan. She seemed really happy with him, even happier than when she was with Matt. Celeste and Juan were such a good match that they were even planning to get married. And then, he was suddenly called off. On the night Juan called their marriage off, Celeste, she killed herself. And that's why I framed Matt. It was revenge for Celeste and for myself. Revenge. I'm sure even you can guess why Juan called the wedding off, right? Matt confessed to Juan about his relationship with Celeste. I see, so that's what happened. But then why did Mr. Corrida have to call off the wedding? I don't understand at all. It was probably because of his worthless male pride. Juan and Matt were always fierce rivals. Matt waited for the wedding announcement and then unleashed the truth on Juan. He was aiming for when it would hurt Juan the most. Poor Miss Impacts. That wasn't the end of it. That day, I'm almost certain that Celeste left a suicide note behind. And in that note, she left a detailed account of Matt's various misdeeds, and so that she would never again be hurt by Matt, she chose to die. Then when Juan discovered her body, he hid her note. But why would he do that? It's simple. Juan realized that note was a powerful weapon against Matt, and it would be especially damaging to his refreshing like a spring breeze image. In any case, with his pride hurt, Juan sought revenge. Revenge? There's that word again. Juan wanted to publicly disclose the contents of that suicide note. At a time that would cause Matt the most damage, of course. And that was at the press conference after the stage show. I know all about it because I heard it all from Juan. It was so I could find out about all this that I drew close to Juan to begin with. They're quite a pair of hideous monsters, aren't they? Even Celeste, it was something for them to use in their game. That night when I found Juan's body, it was only natural that I thought the murderer was Matt. Those two were always spying on one another, after all. As for me, I was frantically searching for Celeste's suicide note. I wanted to destroy it before it ever went public. I was going to burn it. I had even brought a lighter. But I couldn't find the suicide note, and that's when revenge crossed my mind. Yes, I was going to bring to them my own kind of cruel revenge. Celeste was killed by those two monsters. So when I stabbed Juan's body with that knife, I didn't feel a single shred of guilt. And that's all I have to say. Well, Mr. Wright, even knowing all of this, are you still gonna help that man? I'm a lawyer. I see, what a foul profession. Thank you very much for your time and for talking with me. It was no big deal. I couldn't sleep anyway. I can't sleep either, not with my situation or with what I know now. To be continued. Well, what are we gonna do now? Do stuff. Let's save. We are at part 4. Yeah, part 4, 1 trial. Okay. Oh. Why? Huff, huff. How did I get into this mess? That's far enough. We can't run forever. Mr. Phoenix Wright. What is this, a nightmare? Yeah. What have I done wrong? I cannot allow you to go on like this. But I'm just a simple defense attorney. Silence. You are no longer worthy of your title. Wow. F. I've had this dream before, someplace, some time ago. As if this day was written into my destiny. Today I'll stand in court as a lawyer. To prove a killer innocent. March 23. District Court Defendant Lobby number 3. Okay. Well, we're doing this. Oh, who calling? Beep. Hello, this is Phoenix Wright. You don't look so well, dude. You're gonna prove me not guilty today, right? That's actually a phone. Wow. Okay. If you please, Mr. Lawyer. Remember, it's not just me. Your precious friend's life is riding on today's verdict too. Now listen up. You better get on guard a guilty sentence, okay? If you get that creepy slime bag and not guilty, I'll never forgive you ever. Phoenix? Phoenix? Mia? Maya, how's Maya? I don't know. You don't know? He hasn't tried to channel me since yesterday. Mia, what am I supposed to do? Well, like I said, for a lawyer, the worst of times are when you have to force your biggest smiles. But you can't give up. There's still some hope left. Stop it, please. There's nothing left. Not here, not anywhere. Is that a curse and guard again? Will you leave me alone? Look, don't call me anymore. I mean it. Oh, it's Gumshoe. You're really mean, pal. Gumshoe, I'm really sorry. Where are you? They let me join the investigation team and we're chasing after the killer, pal. Then you have some sort of lead? Sorry, but right now we've got 0 leads on the guy. But we're not going to give up. Gumshoe. Until the trial is over, until the verdict is handed down, we're gonna do everything we can and find the killer. If we can get Maya out, then you can get on guard the guilty verdict. He deserves, pal. That's true, I could do that if they found Maya first. You got that? So you have to do whatever you can to make the trial last longer. I have to make the trial last longer? If you go and Mr. Edgeworth with everything you've got, then you too can draw it out. Oh, now I get it. I believe in you, pal. You and Mr. Edgeworth can do it. So, believe in us. We're gonna give it all we've got, just like you. Got it. Thanks, Gumshoe. Right. Hey, Phoenix. You understand now, don't you? You have something money will never be able to buy. I can read friendship, or the strongest weapon in the world, and you have it in abundance. Yep. Looks like we're coming to the end. I have to make the trial last as long as I can. Gumshoe will come through, I know it. Let's see. Alright. Court is now in session for the trial of Matt Angar. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Now, as I recall, we concluded yesterday's session with a big mystery on our hand. The mystery being that what exactly was Miss Adrian Andrews' role in this murder. That is to say, is she really connected to the crime itself? Mr. Richard, if you would please inform the court of today's proceedings. Adrian Andrews. She forged evidence that threw suspicion onto Mr. Angard, and then proceeded to escape the crime scene by wearing a nickel samurai costume. The guilt of these actions are those from which she cannot escape. Then you're saying that she is guilty after all? I'm not finished, Your Honor. Miss Andrews has nothing to do with committing the actual murder. I would like to direct the court's attention to this card. What is that? Looks like a shell. This is the calling card of a certain assassin. Assassin, you say? Yes, Juan Corrida was killed by a professional assassin. And the person who hired the assassin, his client, so to speak, is Matt Angard. What a surprising turn of events. I would think it's become commonplace by now, Your Honor. I know what's going on this time, so I know that everything Edgeworth has said is true, but we still have to hold out as long as we can. At least until Maya is safe and sound. I wonder how the trial will turn out today. Now then, please call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution calls the defendant's mentor, Mr. Will Powers, to the stand. Okay, now then, witness, your name and occupation, please. Okay, I'm Will Powers. I'm a poor, underpaid action star. And what is your relation to the defendant? Well, that's, I guess, I'm sort of a lousy mentor to him in a way, yeah. Mr. Powers, please, you don't need to put yourself down so much. Oh, sorry. Well, but I'm just kind of a nothing sort of guy. And then of the murder, you visited the defendant's room? Is this correct? Yes. I didn't know that. But you know, I didn't actually get to see Matt when I went. All you need to do is answer what you're asked. Now then, I would like you to please testify about when you went to Mr. Angard's room. Okay, sure. Okay. After the award ceremony, I went by myself to Matt's room. Matt was standing there in front of his room, still in his nickel samurai costume. He was talking with someone at first. I thought it was the bellboy. Oh, that's the killer. Okay. I watched the two of them for a while, but then I gave up and went back. I had guests with me that night and I couldn't make them wait for me. Nothing sounds out of place in Mr. Powers' testimony. And talking with the bellboy is no big deal. If one assumes that the person Mr. Angard was speaking with was an ordinary bellboy, what are you implying? Well, Mr. Wright, let's have your cross-examination, shall we? Looks like we're in another sticky situation. A trap. Can't you smell it, Phoenix? But for us to find out more, we're just gonna have to charge in head first, right? Okay, let's save. Present. The defendant's room? Why did you go there? Well, I'm his mentor, like a big brother sort of, and I wanted to say congrats. What's wrong? Why did you stop? Mr. Wright. What is it? You're gonna try to trick me into a corner, aren't you? Huh? I know I'm just a poor underpaid action star, but I'm not the killer. No one said you were, Mr. Powers. No, please don't trick me. Every time you do your lawyer thing, the witness suddenly turns into the bad guy. This man knows me. Every time. Witness, I will personally talk to the defense at a later time. So for now, please kindly cooperate and continue with your testimony. Sorry. So you went to the defendant's room and then... Hey, wait a minute. When and how did I suddenly turn into the bad guy here? Oh, hello. How's it going? Krasalu? I hope I'm saying that right. He said cooperate. Okay, let's press on this. Are you sure that was Matt on guard? Yeah, I'm sure he wasn't wearing the Nickel Samurai mask then. If that's the case, then he really can't be mistaken. And what was the defendant doing, standing in front of his own room? So like kidnapping cool and all, but so is death. I don't think any of those are good. Yeah. What was the defendant doing, standing in front of his own room? Okay. Was talking with someone. Thought it was the bellboy. Honestly, for Maya, I don't know which I prefer. I'm guessing you have played this game before? She getting accused like it's a hobby. At first, what do you mean by that? Well, he was in a bellboy-ish uniform and he had a bottle of juice on a tray. Sounds like an ordinary bellboy to me. Yeah, but I didn't think he was a normal bellboy. And what was that? No, why did I think that, Mr. Wright? How am I supposed to know? Sorry, but I can't remember right now. Sorry. I guess I'm gonna have to wait patiently on this one. Okay. He means at first when you're stupid or something. It's pretty simple. Yeah, sometimes it can be kind of stupid. I watched the two of them for a while, but then I gave up. Went back. Okay. No offense, but you sounded... I'm sorry, this is my normal voice. I can't say much about that. I'm sorry. You saw the two of them, the bellboy and the defendant together, correct? Yep, the bellboy just wanted to say congrats. Now, while you were watching the two of them, did you notice anything strange? You know, I did feel something weird. I think it was because Matt, well, he gave the bellboy a tip. A tip? That's a perfectly normal thing to do. So, how long did you watch the two of them? Not more than a minute or two, I think. Strange, specifically Doctor Strange? Oh, wait. So who are these guests you're talking about? You guys, of course. You and Maya and little Pearl. I thought it would be really rude since I invited you guys if I disappeared on you. So I went back to my seat pretty soon after seeing Matt in the hallway. It's like squeezing water from a stone. It's probably pointless to press further. Do you remember this incident? Did Mr. Powers leave his seat that night? I don't remember that happening at all. Maya was making such a racket in her hyper state. I ended up focusing on her. I see. In any case, from his story, he probably wasn't gone for very long. What I have to present. Man, what sort of thing is testimony scary? I think I have to repress. I can do that? Okay. I have to wait patiently. Maybe. Maybe on something. Let's see if you can remember that thing. Which one was it? Was to do that a while, but then I gave up and went back. This one. At first, it's gonna say the same thing. But I think that... Wait a second. Actually, Mr. Powers, only a few minutes ago you stated... Oh, here we go. You know, I did feel something weird. I think it was because Matt, well, gave the bellboy a tip. Could it be that you felt something strange about the tip-giving incident itself? Yeah, that's it. You really know your job. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor? This bellboy, he wasn't an ordinary one, was he? Perhaps he should let the witness tell us. Very well. Mr. Powers, please amend your testimony. Okay. You mean about the bellboy, right? Okay. I think it was at first date, yeah. Matt gave the bellboy a tip. Okay, first on that. So he gave the bellboy a tip. What's so strange about that? Well, you see, Matt's not a poor penny pincher like me. I was trying to figure out how much it was because the tip really shocked me. How much it was. That's when something even more surprising happened. The bellboy was putting the tip he got in his pocket. And that's when I got my first good look at that guy's face. I was really shocked. I'm afraid I don't follow at all. Sounds like Mr. Powers was surprised twice by this event. I wonder which of his shocking moments I should ask about. I'm gonna save in case, but I'm gonna say the face. Maybe I can ask both anyway. Oops. Bilbo's face. What was so shocking about the Bilbo's face, Mr. Powers? Well, he wasn't exactly a boy, more like an old Gramps. I hope you know that discrimination towards old men is a no-no in my court. No, that's not what I meant at all. In the smack middle of the guy's face, there was a line of stitches. A line of stitches? Yeah, and it went straight from the tippy top of his head to the bottom of his chin. Almost like if that thread snapped, all the stuff in his head would come spilling out. He was there, at Angar's house. Yes, the butler, we know this. He was there, he was the butler. What is it, Mr. Wright? Nothing, Your Honor. So that means Angar was talking with the killer then. And if that fact were to be exposed, Angar would be declared guilty in a blink. Personally, I think the tip was more important. Well, I think we can press on that, I think. Phoenix, you have to play dumb here, pretend you don't know anything. Yes, Chief. You sure you don't have anything you would like to say, Mr. Wright? What did you just say, Your Honor? Nothing, Mr. Wright, nothing. Nice, smooth, Phoenix. We're just going around and around in circles. Now then, Mr. Powers, please continue with your testimony. Okay, let me go back to Dad. Okay. Okay. There we go. The tip. The defendant is a huge star. He can afford to give generous tips. Wouldn't you agree? Sure. But giving him that much was maybe a little too much, I think. A little too much. Would you please clarify for the court? About how much would you say the defendant gave to the bellboy? Honestly, I don't know. I can't even begin to guess. Why is that? Because he gave the bellboy a really fat roll of cash. Well, that's kind of sus. A roll of cash. Well, how interesting. That certainly was a very generous tip, wasn't it? A very fat roll of cash that can hardly be called a tip, Your Honor. The judge is beginning to look awfully suspicious of us. I guess I have to raise an objection. I have to extend this. But I'm gonna say it just in case. Objection. The defendant is a superstar. That kind of tip is typical fare for people like him. Sure. Are you saying that all superstars are super spenders? If I could receive large rolls of cash by simply bringing people things on trays, then why on earth would I stand around here prosecuting? He's got a point. I don't even get paid, let alone rolls of cash for all my hard work. So supposing that roll of cash was not a tip, then what was it? Payment, Your Honor. Payment? Edgeworth is not helping extend this. Isn't it obvious? For the murder of Mr. Juan Corrida. Then the bellboy the witness saw. Yes, he was the assassin. Hold your horses now. Mr. Edgeworth, you don't have any proof of this, do you? Have I ever been unprepared to support my claims, Your Honor? I have here the card Shelley the killer left at the scene of the crime. Shelley the killer. He's the person the police's special investigation team has been chasing for ages. I am certain that the person the witness saw was this very assassin, Shelley the killer. Really? What's wrong, Mr. Powers? No, nothing. Something just clicked in my head and I think I just figured something out. Oh? Actually, I saw that bellboy again later on that night. What? Mr. Powers, please testify. Tell us what you saw. Yes, sir. Right away. the second time. Okay, this time I was in that hallway because I had to go to the bathroom. And that's when that bellboy I saw earlier came out of the room. Of course, when I say room, I mean Juan Corrida's room. Now that I think about it, that bellboy did seem kinda out of place. Yeah, so he had to be the assassin, I'm sure of it. I mean... Okay. Thank you very much. That is all we need for now. Huh? But I'm not done. There's still more. Let's first establish that the bellboy was truly Mr. the Killer. Then we shall see. So the bellboy came out of the victim's room. And if that bellboy really was the assassin, then I think the answer is fairly obvious. That would be correct, Your Honor. Well, Mr. Wright, I believe it's your turn to entertain and make us laugh. This is no laughing matter. Second time. Okay. I was in the hallway because I had to go to the bathroom. And what time was it? Well, I don't remember. The award ceremony ended around 8 PM, right? And I went to Matt's room pretty soon after that, and then I came back. And then I went to the bathroom. So I guess maybe it was around 8 to 10 PM by that time. You're not one for details, are you, Mr. Powers? Sorry, I thought I could maybe catch Matt and say my congrats. Okay, let me actually save first. Let's save there. And that's when the bellboy I saw earlier came out of the room. Are you sure it was the same bellboy? Yeah. And how could you tell? All the bellboys wear the same uniform, after all. But you see, well, he had those stitches in his face. So I'm sure it's the same guy that was talking with Matt. So which room did the bellboy come out of? Margarita's room? The victim's room, huh? Yeah, the one with all the really pretty flowers and teddy bears. It was Juan's room, alright. Words cannot describe how screwed I am. Let's continue with the testimony, shall we? Now that I think about it, that bellboy did seem kinda out of place. So what exactly was so out of place about him? Right. Why the insipid grin? Maybe because I have no idea what damaging thing he's going to say next. Well, the bellboy was empty-handed. Empty-handed? That bellboy was one of those room service people, right? But he wasn't pushing a cart and he wasn't holding a tray either. You'd call that a little strange too, wouldn't you? I agree that it is a bit strange, Mr. Powers. But is it really that unusual for a bellboy to be empty-handed? What should I do? Should I let Mr. Powers' testimony slide or... I'm gonna pull a fast one. There's nothing strange or unusual about an empty-handed bellboy. But there really is. There really isn't. If you two are done being school children, bellboys are for room service. There's no reason for them to be empty-handed ever. Your Honor, I ask that the witness' previous statement be supplanted with this new one. Edgeworth, are you gonna do whatever you can to make the bellboy look suspicious? I see, very well. This court recognizes and grants the prosecution's request. Mr. Powers, if you could amend your testimony, please. Yes, sir. Okay. Of course, when it's a room, I mean... Wait, he didn't change it. Oh, he added that. It's kind of strange for Bill to come out of his room empty-handed. Was that what he added? I think... So you're saying that it's suspicious for him to be empty-handed? Yeah, really suspicious. I mean, when I first saw that bellboy, he was holding a tray in his hand, and there was a bottle of juice and a wine glass on it. Juice? What kind of juice was it? I'm pretty sure it was tomato juice. Okay. If we could come up with some sort of reason as to why he would come out empty-handed. Because he left the tray inside? I think it was in the room. Some sort of proof, then I think we can dodge the bullet on this one for now. Proof, huh? Sounds like another job for the court record. Yeah, so he had to be the assassin, I'm sure of it. Yeah, % on that, but I think I know what to do next. Please don't be so quick to judge. Yeah, but it's kind of a Powers family thing. Think of every person as a thief. Well, I guess a thief and an assassin are both sneaky and silent. That's not the point, Phoenix. In any case, if that bellboy was the assassin, it would be very bad for us. But he really is the assassin, you know? Yes, but you can't give in yet. If you want to prolong this trial for as long as possible, you're gonna have to pull some cheap tricks on this one. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, let's save again. I'm gonna present the photo, I think. No, that's the guide map. This one. Yeah, the tray's there. Okay. Mr. Powers? Yes? You're easily influenced by other people's words, aren't you? As soon as you heard that the bellboy might have been the killer, you got caught up in believing it must be true. But isn't he really suspicious? He's got all those stitches and so a baseball has stitches. Are you saying all baseballs are suspicious because they have stitches? That don't make no sense. Well, there's also, I mean, what about him being empty-handed? I would like to ask the court to please take a look here. This is the crime scene. There is a wine glass sitting next to Mr. Corrida's body. The liquid inside this glass is tomato juice. And now, if you will look at what is on top of the table in the lower right corner here, anyone can clearly see that it is a tray with a bottle of tomato juice on it. The bellboy had just brought this to Mr. Corrida's room. He left the tray in the room, which is why he was empty-handed when he left. But that would mean that the bellboy had seen and left the dead body in the room. But can you prove that Mr. Corrida was already dead at the time? Mr. Edgeworth. Yes? I blame you for leading me down this route. I'm terribly sorry. What is with him? Why is he laughing? Witness, isn't there one more thing you would like to share with us? Is there? The bellboy was empty-handed, or should I say empty-handed? I recall you had something interesting to say about his hands. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Huh? What? That bellboy, he was wearing gloves. Gloves? Yeah, pitch black leather ones. All the other bellboys don't wear gloves like that, right? Black leather gloves. Why didn't you mention them earlier? Sorry, it slipped my mind. Ah, boy, does this make the bellboy look really suspicious. Alright, got to focus, I can't get lax here. So what if he had gloves? A lot of bellboys wear gloves. Come on, Mr. Wright, that bellboy was wearing black leather ones. So, a football is made of leather. These analogies are not helping. Are you saying all footballs are suspicious because they are made of leather? But that man, he received a large roll of cash from the defendant. And then he was seen leaving the crime scene wearing black leather gloves. I don't think that even someone like myself can believe he was just another bellboy. It seems that we have finally come to an understanding. Now then, witness, please continue with the rest of your testimony. The rest? Ah yes, please tell us more. Okay. Ah, great. Their second meeting. After leaving Juan's room, the bellboy went and knocked... Okay. Knocked on Matt's door, just like that. Hey? He gave something to the person inside the room. Then the old guy just left without even going into the room. After that, I went to the bathroom and then back to my seat. Okay. So the bellboy, after leaving the crime scene, next went to the defendant's room. Yep, I kinda saw all that by accident. Some accident, I'd say you saw too much. And all of it was suspicious to high heaven. I think it's safe to say that we can no longer consider this bellboy to be normal. Now then, let's get started, shall we? Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Yes, Your Honor. Okay. Second meeting. After leaving Juan's room, the bellboy went and knocked on Matt's door just like that. Is that what you saw while you were busy spying? Excuse me? I may be a poor underpaid action star, but even I wouldn't stoop to spying. Well, I think the point is where did you watch all this from, Mr. Powers? Oh, from the door of the bathroom with my left eye in a sort of sneaky spy-like. I knew he was spying. Please, does it really matter if he was doing it over or underhandedly? What did the bellboy do next? That's all I care to know. Okay. Let me save. He gave something to the person inside the room. I said, hold it. Okay. That's better. What kind of statement is that? Please elaborate and give us a few more details. Okay. I should probably ask him only one question at a time. Person inside, but there's something. Person inside. So who took this something the bellboy handed off? Actually, I don't know. What do you mean? I'm sorry, but I only saw the person's arm. Only an arm? Then you're saying you didn't see the person's face? Yeah. Well, it was Mr. Angar's room, correct? So it could have only been Mr. Angar himself, I'd say. And then, what did the bellboy do after that? Also, after he gave the person inside the room the thing... Okay. Come on. Can I ask again the thing? About this something. He gave something to this person. Yeah. And what was this something? I remember what it was, I would have been calling it as... I wouldn't be calling it as something, would I? But this implies that something was removed from the scene of the crime. Are you sure you really can't remember, Mr. Powers? I think it was something kind of small. Oh, it might have been the... That might have been the suicide note. I would like to summarize the testimony up to this point, if you don't mind. When the bellboy left the crime scene, he immediately went to the defendant's room. There, he handed a small item of some sort to the person inside. As for the reason who received the item, all you could see was the person's arm. Yes, it was just like that. Mr. Edgeworth, is all this really that important? Oh, of course, Your Honor. I think this is of the utmost importance. This is when whatever was removed from the crime scene was handed over to the client. Mr. Powers, please try to remember what it was the bellboy handed off. Well, let's see. I think it was... No. If you remember, please add it to your testimony. Yes, sir. If I saw it again, I could say for sure, but I think it was some sort of wooden statue? Like a bear? Wooden statue? A statue. Yeah, it kinda looked like one, I guess. If I saw the actual thing again, I'd probably remember, you know? The bear is wood. Yeah, I was thinking that. Looks like for this trial to proceed, I'm going to have to come up with whatever this statue thing is and show it to him. Okay. You're gonna have to trust your instinct on this one and take a chance, Phoenix. Oh, I have a feeling. Well, Mr. Bowes, let's continue with your testimony. What did the bellboy do after that? I'm gonna press for the next ones anyway. Just to know if there's something else, but I think I know how to proceed. Where did this bellboy go after he left Mr. Angar's room? He opened the door to Viola Hall. Went in there, and who knows after that, right? I do. After that I went to the bathroom and then back to my seat. Did you see anything strange, suspicious, or just out of the ordinary at the time? Oh yeah, I saw that one thing. What? I saw something else? It was this jittery alien with a ray gun. That's old bag. He was watching Juan's door like some sort of stalker. What was that? Okay. Okay, it was a bot, I think. Don't worry about it. Alright. I think we can forget about the alien. Well, Mr. Powers' testimony just now was just as big as his first. It's a little troublesome, isn't it? But I'm sure if you press him enough, everything will become clearer. Although that just makes it harder on us, doesn't it? Talk about a lose-lose situation. Should I present the wood thing then? Or keep pressing? I'm gonna say even just present the bear. Okay. What was the point of that pregnant pause? Where did that objection come from? Well, speak up. It was me, Your Honor. What is it, Phoenix? I have a feeling that something bad is going to happen once I show this. Mr. Wright, if you have something to say, please spit it out. Yes, Your Honor. Okay, Phoenix, deep breath. Mr. Powers, the something you saw. Was it this item? Oh, hey, that's it. That's the something. Wow, Mr. Wright, you really figured it out. I recall we found this at Madame Gard's mansion. At the defendant's house. Yeah, that's bad. What does this mean? It's simple, Your Honor. Shelly the killer assassinated Juan Corrida in his room. And then he stole this wooden bear from the scene of the crime. And the bear being found at Mr. Angard's mansion would mean... It goes without saying, Your Honor. Mr. Madangard is the killer's client. Whoops. Order, I said order. Mr. Wright, this is a most unfortunate turn of events for you. Yeah. Sorry, Mia. No, it's alright. Your judgment was sound. Actually, I figured the bear would come up. If not now, then it would have later on. Even if you hadn't shown it to the court, I'm sure your friend Edgeworth would have. I almost forgot that he knew about it too. I think it is clear that there is no need for us to continue this trial. I can't let this happen. I have to do something. There has to be something we've overlooked. Your Honor, a minute please. Yes, Mr. Wright? There are still a few points left that we have not fully explored. What are you trying to pull? Oh well, we can't have that. Let me save. Alright, Mr. Wright, what questionable point would you like to explore further? Power's testimony, the person who received the bear. Bear itself. The bear itself? Yeah, the bear itself. I think it's fairly obvious that the bear itself is very questionable. The bear, Mr. Wright? This was found at Mr. Angard's mansion. However, Mr. Angard was arrested at the hotel that night. Which means that since the murder occurred, he has not had a chance to go home. Oh, that's a good point. I think Your Honor has already figured out what I'm trying to say. It is not possible that it was Mr. Angard who took this bear to his mansion. Good one. Why, that's very true. We didn't consider that point, Mr. Wright. There was no way time-wise for the defendant to have taken this bear home. Phew, disaster averted. Whoop. Hey gee, why are you ruining my moment of glory? You haven't gotten the best of me yet, Mr. Wright. Huh? I remember it clear as day. I remember what you muttered to yourself at Angard's mansion. We have this area completely surrounded. There's no way for him to escape. I can't believe it. That butler, all this time, he was the killer. No, you can't use that on me. The killer and Angard were working together, so to speak. And the killer was hiding at Angard mansion as its butler. Oh, what a bold move. The bear figurine was brought back to Angard mansion by the killer himself. When it looked like he was about to be arrested, Angard had him do so. I assume because it would have been bad had the police found it during the investigation. Well, Mr. Wright, you've been quiet for a while now. This is too much. Isn't there anything I can attack at all? I have to try. I have to find something else. What would you do now, Mr. Wright? Do you plan to expose a clearly shaky place in Mr. Power's testimony? What? There's still another one? There is indeed, Your Honor, and it's quite a questionable point. What are you trying to pull? Oh, well, we can't have that. We have to save. Alright, Mr. Wright, What questionable point would you like to explore further? Person who received the bear? There was one thing in Mr. Power's testimony that was very unclear, and that is the identity of the person who received the bear. He gave something to the person inside the room. I'm sorry, but I only saw the person's arm. As long as we don't know who it was that took the bear, we can't be sure of... What just happened? What is it, Mr. Powers? If you're going to scream like that, then at least give us a good reason why. Oh yeah, sorry. Actually, so I remember. I remember who took the bear. What? Really? I mean, I only saw his arm. But the arm... It was the Nickel Samurai's arm, I swear it. You got to be kidding. Are you sure of that, Mr. Powers? Yeah, I'm sure it was the Nickel Samurai. Order, order. It looks like you've dug your own grave yet again. How many times is that today? I've lost count. So the person who took in this little bear was the Nickel Samurai. And as we all know, Matt and Guard is the Nickel Samurai. Thanks to the defense, we've made that all the clearer. Whoops. I think we've heard enough. We now know why this bear figurine was at the defendant's mansion, as well as who it was that received the bear from the assassin in his room. Everything has become very clear. The client who hired the assassin to commit the murder was Mr. Matt Angard. I see no reason for this trial to continue, therefore I will now hand down my verdict. Thank you, Your Honor, for your understanding. You see, Mr. Wright? You can now win against the truth, could you? I knew it would turn out this way. After all, what Edgeworth has stated is the truth. Any last objections, Mr. Wright? Well, what should I do? I guess I need to try to extend it somehow. Raise objection. I will now... Oh. There is only one way for me to drag this trial out. The only thing I have left is this one trick. Your Honor, right now we have these two reasons to believe my client is the assassin's client. Reason number one, he accepted the bear figurine from the assassin. Reason number two, that very same figurine was found at Vanguard Mansion. However, it's possible this is all the work of a certain other person. What are you saying? What I am saying is, it's possible a different person is the killer's real client. The real client. Yes. Is this all you have? Now then, Mr. Wright, let's hear a theory. Let's hear my theory of saving. Who do you say is the killer's real client and therefore the real murderer? I guess it's, if we already kind of put Andrews in the spot, we have to throw her under the bus again. Adrian Andrews? Yes, we already know that she tried to frame Matt and Gar for the crime by wearing a spare Nickel Samurai costume. Then the Nickel Samurai's arm that I saw, that could have very well been Miss Andrews. But what about Mr. Angard? If you would please recall yesterday's testimony. The defendant was taking a nap during the break period. That's right. Then finding this figure at Mr. Angard's mansion, it was a well-laid trap set by Miss Andrews. That works. Mr. Edgeworth, what is your opinion on this? I can't even begin to count the flaws in the defense's logic. Besides which, there is no evidence to support it. However, I can't fully discount its possibility either. What is with this trial? Come on, anyone can tell Angard did it? Yeah, unbelievable. It's not something petty. It's murder of all things. This is to save Maya. This is to save Maya. Even if the whole world turns against me, this is one fight I can't give up on. Order, order, order. All disrupted parties will be forced to leave the courtroom. Your Honor. For the benefit of the defense, I'm willing to play along with his what-if game. His what-if game, Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution is prepared to challenge the defense's theory? Mr. Wright, even you must have thought it strange and wondered. Why would the criminal want this little wooden bear? He's right. The killer did specially bring that bear to Angard right away. I think it has to do with the suicide note. Why do you ask? Is there something special about it? Absolutely. And I'm sure that once the court knows its significance, the true killer's identity will become crystal clear. Your Honor, the prosecution calls upon a witness who will clear all doubts against Miss Andrews. And who would that be? It's quite simple, Your Honor. Miss Adrian Andrews herself. Okay. I see. Well then, the court will take a short 10-minute recess. The prosecution will prepare its witness in that time. Yes, Your Honor. Okay. District Court, defendant lobby number 3. Oh, I knew it was a good idea to hold her hostage. Don't you agree, Mr. Lawyer? But I never thought in your desperation you'd try to pin the guilt onto Adrian. I swear this demon will pay. Mr. Nick. Charles, where's Mia? I don't know. A really strong power suddenly called her away. A really strong power? Oh, Maya. Oh. Oh, Mr. Nick, your phone is... It's from Gumshoe. How's it going? Have you been hanging in there, pal? Yeah, sort of. We just barely found something to latch onto. Yeah, that's good, pal. And what about you? Anything yet? Have you figured out where the killer and Maya are? We still don't have any leads, but... What? We don't have any more time. If we just had one, even a single clue would be really helpful. I was only able to come this far because I kept thinking to myself, I've got to keep the trial going until Maya's been rescued. And have I just run out of luck this time? It's all our hope for not? A tent. A what now? Huh? A tent? I could see a circus tent. Oh. Mia! Oh, are they at the... what was it called? The circus? I forgot the name in the other case. It looks like Maya was unconscious until just a few minutes ago. As soon as she woke up, she called for me. So it was Maya that called you away. She's stuck in a dusty little room right now. But I could see a circus tent outside the window about 300 feet away. Gumshoe, is there a circus in town right now? There's only one, pal. The Very Big Circus, that's the name. Maya is somewhere within a 300-foot radius of the main tent. What? Okay, hold on a sec, pal. They draw a circle on that map, about a 300-foot radius from the main tent, hurry. And I can see a mailbox under the window just outside. I'm sure there's also a mailbox. Okay, what else? What else, Mia? I'm sorry, but it was a very small window. I couldn't see anything else. It felt like I was in an old office building. Maybe the 3rd floor or so? I heard her. An old office building. Good stuff, pal. Okay, just hang in there. Just a little longer, pal. Wish us luck. Good luck. I'll call you later, so don't let your battery die. Okay, pal? Alrighty. Maya's not hurt, right? She's in a pretty bad state, Phoenix. She's being starved. Should please hurry. Looks like we're out of time. Are you alright, Phoenix? It's only a matter of time before Maya's rescued. I can do this. I just have to make this trial last a little longer. Alright, back to the trial. Okay. Car will now reconvene. The killer, the man who murdered the victim, handed this to his client. From this, one obvious question arises. Why this particular item? I believe the answer to that question will provide us with the name of the real culprit. Now then, the prosecution calls the defendant's manager, Adrian Andrews, to the stand. Currently, the witness is accused of tampering and obstruction of justice. Okay. However, you have been called to the witness stand today to ascertain who exactly is guilty of murder. I understand. Very good. Now, have you ever seen this bear before, Miss Andrews? Oh, of course I have. Oh, you have seen it before? That's right, it's only natural that the witness has. Miss Andrews, could you please enlighten the court to this bear's secrets? Alright. Why does she? The bear figurine. Actually, this is an elaborate puzzle. If you know the correct order, it can be taken apart one piece at a time. At its center is a small cavity with just enough room to store a small item. Like a suicide note? Because of its complexity, if you don't know the order, you can't open the bear. You really can't tell that it's a small jewelry box just by looking at it. So this figurine, it's a container of sorts, is it? Yes, looks can be deceiving, wouldn't you agree? Yes, this is superb craftsmanship. Oh yes, I nearly forgot. You may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. It looks like there really was something to that bear after all. Well, yeah, it had to be. There had to be something. Elaborate puzzle, okay. A puzzle. That's right. But it looks like an ordinary figurine. True enough, to people who don't know, I'm sure they would never guess that this was a puzzle. So what kind of puzzle is this exactly? You know the correct order, it can be taken apart one piece at a time. So you can take it apart. And how would one go about doing that? Well, you first turn its tail to the right and then push it in. Oh, yes, I see. After that, the arms and legs are free to move and can be removed. Oh, this is most interesting. Is it doing it right now? A boy and his new toy. It's like he's 5 all over again. Okay. Oh, don't mind me. Go ahead and carry on. I think he's lost it. So, what do you find after you take the puzzle apart? In the center is a small cavity with just enough room to store a small item. And how do you know about this? I know because I was the one who bought it. Huh? It was a souvenir from when a friend and I went to Switzerland. Then this was a present from you? That's right. It was a puzzle in the shape of a bear, so I thought it would be perfect for Juan. So it was a present from Miss Andrews. Witness, let's continue with your testimony. Because of its complexity, if you don't know the order, you can't open the bear. So who exactly knew how to solve this puzzle? Only the two of us, Juan and myself. It was a souvenir from Switzerland, so I doubt there are that many people with this same bear in this country. But this looks like it can be easily broken. Oh, thank you for the follow, Krasalu, sorry. And thank you for the hydrate. I'll take it now. Alright, but this looks like it can be easily broken. You've been at it, so I thought you might need it. Thank you, I really appreciate the follow. Oh, and the hydrate, I guess that's what you meant. Anyway, especially if someone wanted to get at what's inside. Well, it's a toy. But it can never be the same again once it's been broken. You really can't tell that it's a small jewelry box just by looking at it. Who else knows that this bear is actually a small container or jewelry box? I never told anyone. And as long as Juan never told anyone either, then only the two of us knew. The two of you, huh? Then of course that means Mr. Ungard didn't know, right? I think this is about all I'm going to get for now. Appearing updated in the car record. Wooden puzzle with a hollow inside. Okay. Well, Mr. Wright, I think even you have come to realize that there is one very important fact we have uncovered, and that is this. This bear is actually a jewelry box. Okay. Now that we have agreed to this point, there is only one logical question that can come next, and that is this. What is inside this box? What's inside? That's right. That's what we are going to find out next. Witness? Yes? You are the only one who can open this. Please. Okay. There's a painful silence hanging over the courtroom. All eyes are on Miss Andrews now as she solves the puzzles and takes the bear apart. Okay, she do it. I've opened it. Oh. But the suicide note? What is that? Is this what you wanted? What is that? Looks like a note? I don't think we need to guess at what that is, do we, Mr. Wright? It's the suicide note. The suicide note? The suicide note left by Juan Corrida's former manager, Celeste Impacts. Oh, this is bad. Until now, no one knew of its whereabouts, but just as we suspected, it was hidden. Hidden by the victim, Juan Corrida himself. It seems Celeste Impacts had very beautiful handwriting, and she just as beautifully signed her own name on this document. This is most definitely the note she left right before she committed suicide. Oh boy. Oh boy. Order. Witness, did you know about this? Yes, I did. I heard all about it from Juan. Wait, so she knew about the note? When I discovered his body, I'll look for the bear. I wanted to destroy the note before it became public. Oh, I see. But I couldn't find it anywhere, because it had already been taken by the killer. Everything's going at Mr. Edgeworth's pace, So now that the suicide note has been found, what's the next logical question? What is written on the note? That's right, at least that's what I would think. Now then, I believe it is only appropriate to it's only appropriate. Oh, I can't speak. I believe it is only appropriate the contents of this note be made known. There it is. I can't stop you, can I? I went through so much just to get my hands on it, and I was going to burn it for her sake. I'm deeply sorry, but I can't allow you to persuade me to stop. Your Honor, if you could please read the contents of the note aloud. Very well. Okay. The judge's voice rang loud and clear, though the deathly silent courtroom. Okay. In her note, Celeste Impacts left to us a record of all that had happened to her. About being used and then thrown away by Angard. About being engaged to Corrida and Angard's role in destroying that. And about how she decided in her despair to end it all. Eesh. That's bad. And that's all Miss Impacts had to say. Well, rip. There's one thing I would like to say here. The prosecution has no interest in slandering Mr. Angard. Then what? Our intention, Your Honor, is to establish a motive for murder. Isn't that correct, witness? Yes. On the night of the murder, Juan was going to make the contents of the note public. After the post-ceremony show, he was going to hold a press conference. My word. Angard values above all else his refreshing like a spring breeze image. Which is why he had to stop this note from being made public. At any cost. Found inside the figurine, tells of Angard's horrible misdeeds. Okay. It's Angard's fault that woman killed herself. And this time he even went so far as to kill someone to stop him from revealing that. How terrible, what a selfish person. I guess there's slimeball lawyers out there who will defend. There's no room for doubt here. It gives Andrews a motive too. And there is room. I guess maybe he's gonna do that now. We'll see, there's no room for doubt here. Mr. the Killer's client's goal was to obtain this suicide note. And the only person who needed this note that badly is the defendant. Let's not forget that the mirror with the note inside was found at the defendant's house. Okay. Seems that we have come to the truth at last. The defendant's motives were entirely selfish. He deserves no sympathy from anyone. How am I supposed to escape from this one? With the hesitation, Phoenix. Gumshoe hasn't called yet, so you know what you must do. Yes, extend. Extend. I know I have to carry on and buy him some more time. Okay. There are two deadly pieces of evidence, the figurine and the suicide note. Maybe somehow I can find a way out of this situation through one of those? Yeah, I'll see. How did they know that about the bear too? The gavel is already in the judge's hand. Phoenix, hurry. The suicide note or the figurine? Which one of these should I pursue? The note. Please wait, Your Honor. Oh man, look at that lawyer. He's still going at it? It's like he doesn't care that he's trying to get a killer off the hook. I think Your Honor believes that Angard killed him in order to obtain this note? Yes, that is correct. But that seems a little strange. In fact, I think there is There is a contradiction here. This note was hidden by Mr. Corrida until the night of the murder. If that is the case, I say that Matt Angar could not have known what was written on this note. Oh, I didn't think of it that way. Exactly, but I did think of it that way, and I thought it was rather strange. No one in their right mind would kill for a note without first knowing what it said. Got him. Order, order, order. You make a valid point, Mr. Wright. Mr. Edgeworth, what is your opinion? Oh, he angry. It was just a flash, but I think I did rather well on this one. Unfortunately, I think he believes differently. But I believe a show of appreciation is in order. Huh? The defense seems to be in love with wishing more despair upon itself. Oh boy, he was ready. I would like to direct the court's attention to this. What is that? It is a very small video camera, Your Honor. Yeah, I was thinking that that's how they knew about it. This type of camera is commonly used as a means of spying. Spying? What the? I thought that spy camera was in my possession. Madagar and the victim both thought of the other as their biggest rival. They even went so far as to use this type of item to find each other's weaknesses. And the victim Hongarita was being spied on. His personal life has been watched by none other than Matt Angar. Wow. Order, order. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. You don't tell me you knew about your client's spying activities? Well, sort of. Sort of is not an acceptable answer, Mr. Wright. I see you are confused, Mr. Wright. You're probably thinking, but I have the camera that was in this stuffed bear's eye. But this camera that I have is not that same one. Last night I searched the victim's house on a hunch. Oh. He had another one using this Gumtrous bug sweeper. By the way, Mr. Wright, the defendant's fingerprints were found on this camera. Great. Madangar's fingerprints were on there. Well, Phoenix, we're fucked. It looks like those cameras were hidden all over the place, huh? What am I supposed to say to that evidence? I think this is the end. It's fairly obvious that Mr. Angar learned of the suicide note through this. He was watching the victim all along. You got me good this time. I don't have anything to counter that. Okay, well. Hey, now what's that lawyer thinking? Mommy, is that man the bad killer guy? Shush, stop, don't look at him. The way he's sweating is just so, ew, nasty. Phoenix. Yes, Chief? Have you figured out what you're going to do next yet? What I'm going to do next is running away like a frightened child work? Sounds good to me. I know it seems like Mr. Edgeworth is very close to putting the lid on this case, but in his eagerness to prove his point, he forgot one very important thing. He did? Well, what is it, Mia? There's a piece of evidence that he really should investigate. Something he should investigate. I would really hate to see the good prosecutor get scolded for not remembering to look into the item when he had the chance. Why are you speaking in riddles all of a sudden? What item? Alright, I think this time we'll finally understand everything. Well, Mr. Wright, you don't have any further objections, do you? What is this piece of evidence that Mia's talking about? Can I figure out what it is that still needs to be looked at, or should I let it go? Oh, I guess we have to. I don't have anything else. Just to be sure, I'm gonna save. Oh, thank you for the hydrate, Emma. Hello, how's it going? Going good, glad to hear that. Just got home, nice. How's it going with me? It's going alright, things. Doing some progress here. Kind of getting close to the end of this case. Not sure if the end. I might need another stream, but yeah, getting some good progress on. Yeah. How did that go? Did you enjoy that place? Yeah, I guess we have to present. I have an objection, Your Honor. That was about the weakest objection I've ever heard, Mr. Wright. Objection! Oh, there it is. Your Honor, the defendant has no intention of letting this go so easily. You're beginning to sound desperate. That's just our imagination, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth, this is not like you at all. How's the case going? It's going alright, yeah. We got some good progress in it. Yeah, not sure if I'm gonna finish it today, but we're close. We're close. It's not like you at all. In your eagerness to prove your point, you've forgotten one very important thing. Hey, isn't that what I just said? So you're telling me that I forgot something? You're so close, Mr. Edgeworth. There's something you really should examine about this piece of evidence. Do I have the note? I do have the note. Oh, I can't read it? Dang it. Wait. No. The handwriting? No. She had handwriting here. I don't think it is. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, yes, I believe some special examination is needed, but I think the item that should be examined is the defense grade matter. Whoops. Oh my god, it actually said whoops. I didn't even read that one. Mr. Wright, after this trial is over, I would like to see you in my chambers. I think there are a few things we need to discuss. Yes, Your Honor. If you're going to speak, at least use your brain to make up something intelligible. So you tell me that I forgot something. Okay, let me save here. You're a meanie, Edgeworth. Okay. Okay. Yeah. What is it? What is it? That is Miss Impact's suicide note, right? I thought it was too obvious to be that. Okay. Who knows? I mean, sure, this suicide note was found inside this bear. This bear was in my possession until only a few moments ago. Which means... The handwriting on this suicide note has yet to be out. That's what I said. I had the right idea, but I showed the wrong thing, I guess. Oh, so as to whether this pivotal piece of evidence was really written by Miss Impax or not, that has yet to be even remotely confirmed. Mr. Wright, you can't seriously... Oh, Mr. Wright, are you saying this suicide note is a fake? Miss Andrews, you were the one who tried to pin this murder on Mr. Angard. Who's to say you didn't create a fake suicide note and put it into despair? How dare you? Your Honor, the defense is indiscriminately accusing the witness again. There is no evidence linking the witness to the suicide note whatsoever. But if this is a fake, then the witness is the only person who could have made it. What? Recall the witness' testimony concerning this figurine? The only person other than the victim who could solve the puzzle is the witness herself. And there goes another pair of glasses. Miss Andrews, you wrote this note, didn't you? You wrote it so you could use it to frame Matt Angard. Wait, did she actually? I did no such thing. Right. If you're going to pronounce this suicide note a fake, then show this girl some evidence to support your theory. I have the handwriting on the thing, I guess. Mr. Edgeworth, you were the one who presented this scrap paper as evidence. That means the burden of proof lies with you, the prosecution. Got him. That's enough. Mr. Edgeworth, can you confirm the handwriting on the suicide note? It is as the defense has stated, the handwriting has yet to be analyzed. If that's the case, it seems that yet again we have reached a point where a verdict is impossible. That's impossible. This isn't good, Phoenix. The judge is going to carry this trial over one more day. I don't think Maya will physically be able to make it another day. Well, gosh, she gotta be on something already. I didn't want to have to do this, but I don't have a choice. I request that both the prosecution and defense further investigate. Handwriting analysis, my butt. That's just a lawyer trying to buy more time. Angard is guilty. Look, any idiot can tell you that. I think we've reached the end of the line. Guilty, 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 guilty. Oops. Oop. Forgot to turn it off. What is that sound? It's Gumshoe. Hello, Gumshoe? What is with him? And what's with that side? Where's Maya? What happened to the killer? He got away. Oh my god. What? I'm sorry, pal. I really am. I don't know what to say. Besides, I'm sorry. I wish there was some way to make it up to you. I really do. Anyway, what's going on? We found his hideout, pal. But the two of them were already gone. This is terrible. I'm gonna keep looking for them, pal. Don't you worry. I just need a little more time. But don't tell me we don't have any more. Guilty, 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 guilty. You hear that? They're calling for his head. Mr. Wright, I can't for us to come this far and oh, what is it? Let me talk to Mr. Edgeworth right now. I can't do that. Mr. Wright, would you please get a hold of yourself? Yes, Your Honor. I am about to end today's proceedings. You may take your phone calls after. Hold on, Your Honor. Edward, catch. Yeet. Mr. Edward? Please, you've got to buy us some more time. Court is in session. Wow. Savage. I'm sorry, Your Honor. You were saying? Wow. Mr. Wright, this is a court of law. I'm sorry, Your Honor, but I am reluctant to do this. However, it appears that I have no choice but to suspend proceedings until tomorrow. This time, I really can't do anything. Court is now adjourned for the day. Oh. Please wait, Your Honor. Edgeworth? What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? I humbly request another 30 minutes of Your Honor's time. For what purpose? We can perform the necessary tests of this piece of evidence in that time. But can you really obtain your result in 30 minutes? I believe we can, Your Honor. But wouldn't it be better if we adjourn for today and then reconvene tomorrow? 30 minutes, please, Your Honor. That's all I'm asking for. Please, Your Honor. Very well. Yes, cool. At the prosecution's request, this court will now take a 30-minute recess. But be advised that I will not allow another recess today. I'm not sure if this is helping or hurting us. The court will now take its final recess of the day. Okay, verse 23, this record defendant lobby number 3. Right, well, what's going on with my situation? The killer, it looks like he got away again. 30 minutes? We can't find her in that time. Report? Is that Mr. Edgeworth? We don't have it. We don't have time. Just spit it out. Right. Looks like we just missed them, sir. But the killer left a few things behind by accident in his rush to get away. A few things? Can we use any of them as evidence? Oh, I thought you'd ask, pal. I've got the thing he left with me right now and I'm on my way over. Really? That's odd. Any items like that are usually sent to the crime lab first. We don't have time to wait for those guys, sir. When those guys weren't looking, I swiped the stuff and ran. What? Well, I'm not a detective anymore, so I have to. I'm really sorry, sir, but I've got to put the law on hold for now. Sounds bad. I hope he doesn't get in too much trouble over this. With my hunk of junk card, I'd say I'll be there in about 20 minutes, sir. Don't worry, I'll be there. Wait for me. Alright, just get here in one piece. I'm on a mission and no one can stop me now, sir. No one. I'm pulling out all the stops and running every red light. Okay. Items left by the murderer. Huh? Maybe there's something among them that will be decisive enough to end this. Whoa, what the hell? Did it come shoot? Hey, what's wrong? Detective Gumshoe, answer me. He just crash? No one can stop me. Great. That is great. What happened? Sounded like he had an accident. I'm guessing his cell phone broke as well. What was he thinking? We got the hurrying call for help, but we have no idea where he is. His cell phone is broken and he wasn't driving a patrol car, so no radio either. Also, if we don't get to those items before they do, the police will take possession of them. No, we can't let that happen. Well, if there is a way we can find out where he is, then we stand a chance. Why? Oh, why did Gumshoe have to get into an accident now? Is there any way to find out exactly where he is at this moment? I don't know, is there? There is? That's right, there is a way, is it? What? How? I'm sure we can find out where Detective Gumshoe is through this. I don't have to. But I was looking for the metal, not the thing, detector thing. I don't know. Yes, kidnapper. Oh, it could. Oh, he could have that. Right, we're not in the middle of a mock trial here. Guess this won't work, huh? Guess it's up to me. Alright, I will think of something on my end. Don't get your hopes up too high. But I'll try my best. Did I say something wrong? Edgeworth. What is it? I don't have any right to judge anyone ever again. I know my client is guilty. But what I'm doing now, I'm pinning the guilt onto someone totally innocent and using the evidence to do so. It might be my turn to say defense attorney Phoenix Wright chooses death. Right, doesn't suit someone like you to cry useless tears. I'm still trying to figure out which one was the item. Was there an item? I don't know. I'm not sure. Whether you did your job well or not, that can only be seen after the verdict has been decided. The verdict? Is Prosecutor Edgeworth here? Yes, bailiff. There's a phone call for you, sir. I said it was extremely urgent. We're probably finished with the handwriting analysis. I have to go take this call. In the meantime, think hard about what it is you must do. Oh, to be continued. I'm not sure if there was actually something I had to show specifically there. How else do we know where he is? Phone. I don't know. Mia? No, I don't think. No. I'm not sure. Save progress. Yes. Don't finish. What do you mean? Don't finish. Just get back. So we need to ask you random questions. Nice guys finished last. What? I mean, I'm kind of hungry. So, I don't know what to do now. Okay. Okay, one question. Okay. Alright, go ahead. Granny's asking it? Okay. I'm waiting on it. Okay. Have you ever thought about surfing? Like really thought about it? Surfing? No. Nope, not really. Not into it. Okay, was that it? Can I go? If you could be a master of one sport, what would it be? One sport? I guess football, because I like it. I guess. It's pretty much the only one I watch, so yeah. What position? What position? I don't know. Midfield. Attacking midfield. Yes. Are you actually Messi? Yes, I am. Caught in 4K. Can I have your autograph? Maybe. Done of winning the Cup of America. Thanks. Thanks. Okay. I think I'm gonna be in the stream here. What is what? You know what a wag is? No, I don't. You're rushing me? No, now you have to tell me. What is it? It's a footballer's wife or girlfriend. Right. Hey, yeah, I know what that is. We're going to say that someone we know is clearly a wag if you're Messi. Huh? Okay. If you say so. Alright. Is that it? That's it? Okay. Alright. You may leave. Okay. Thanks. Alright, anyway. Thanks everyone that stopped by today. Let me see. Thank you, Ala, for the host earlier. And thank you, Chris Salo, for the follow. And I may I'm gonna be back tomorrow with Uncharted 3. Maybe I don't know. I'll see if I can get the platinum tomorrow. I don't know. I'm kinda close to the end of the story at least. I'm gonna try at least to finish the story part. Not sure if I'm gonna clear the little trophies here and there that I'm missing. But yeah, I'm gonna try at least to finish the story in the hard mode. But yeah, that's the plan. Alright. But yeah, thank you everyone that stopped by today again. Hope everyone has a good rest of the Saturday. And yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow. Alright, take care everyone. Bye bye.